Greetings and peace, everyone. My name is Neo, and I'm here to share some info with the people. All right, welcome to the C.R.S.A YouTube channel, the Committed Relationships YouTube channel. I am your host, Neo, and what I'm here to talk to you guys about now is about teen dating equates to teenage pregnancy. And it does not do that all of the time. No, it does not. However, to a large extent, to a large degree, it usually leads to teen pregnancy in some way, shape, or form. And also nowadays, it also leads to single motherhood. Definitely. And now this information that I am about to share with you comes from my years of personal development, completion of my own personal development work, and that includes various books. Like I mentioned in a lot of my videos, my favorite book that I started off with, not my favorite book, but one of the books that started me off was Straight Talk I'm going a little bit too fast right now, and I'm going to keep that in there. I'm not going to edit that out. Straight Talk for Men about marriage. And my favorite book is Understanding Other People, The 5 Secrets to Human Behavior. That book right there was the very book that set me off greatly with the great foundation, understanding even more about the ego, communication, the proper communication that we need to have versus communicating from our own filters. Our filters is our own current beliefs that we all speak from, rather than when we're in a situation where we're speaking with someone, we don't get out. Most people usually don't get out of their own beliefs to be able to perceive things from another person's point of view. That book taught me that also. I love that book. And also this information comes from me studying my family. I have 3 sisters within my immediate family, and all 3 of them are now single mothers, and they all started dating. They all were involved in teen dating in one way or another. And also me studying a variety of different people here in America, I realized, and also listening to a variety of different people, I realized that a lot of people, if not everybody, the majority of people have gotten involved in some kind of teen dating in one way or another anyways. So that makes me start to think and feel that the love that we require innately is just natural in us. We naturally want to be in relationships in general with other people, and especially love relationships. And what goes on nowadays even more than ever is a lot of people who lack the proper amount of love and affection from their parents in one way or another, that those individuals are going to have a void, I call it a parental deficiency within themselves, that is going to cause them to seek out love and affection from other individuals of that gender. For example, if it's a young female who has not received love from her father, and her father was not there at all to provide the proper love and affection to her, she is more than likely going to grow up throughout her many years of adulthood and her teenage years seeking a male to be in love with and to have him give her love and to some extent be her father. And it's the same thing with a young male who have not received a proper amount of love and affection and also mature guidance from his mother. He is more than likely going to seek that out in another woman. And that's exactly what was my case, where I grew up in a single mother household, and she was too busy going to work and getting all of the things together to be able to sit with us one-on-one and spend time with us to give us that love and affection. So with me throughout my teenage years, well, I would say more like my 20s, because I got a lot more freedom in my 20s when I moved out into my own apartment. I was seeking affection from a female, and it was like that that deficiency, that void inside of me was so deep that I would seek it out any way that I can get it, and I would accept it any way that I can get it, to the point where there were some very low quality females. When I look back at it now, my situation now, there were some very low quality, what I would consider now low quality females that I dealt with at the time. But once I came across that book, Straight Talk for Men About Marriage, that's when I was able to identify the voids that I had within myself from my unresolved childhood issues. I resolved that, and now I validate myself. I avoid seeking validation from women. And yes, it does feel good though. However, when I do get validated from a woman, but it does not, I avoid seeking it out like I used to, because there's no need for it. I already programmed my mind and I filled those voids so that I can be the one that validates myself within myself. And now I'm a much more strong, psychologically strong, mature individual than ever before. So I don't need to be in a relationship to feel validated. And that is exactly what has been going on for many, many years for people in general, but especially these teenagers. They seek validation, and they seek it out through their committed relationships, their love relationships, whether it be a love for the same gender or a love for the opposite gender. And there is so much going on with these teenagers' minds nowadays, minds, body, and also spirits nowadays, their soul. And it's causing them to have dysfunctional behavior. And that dysfunctional behavior stems from a dysfunctional family and living situation. If the parents or parent doesn't have a stable home for the child, then the child more than likely is not going to be stable. If the parent or caretaker does not have a stable mind of their own to be able to provide stability overall, psychologically, emotionally, and spiritually, and if it's not a nurturing environment, then that child is more than likely going to be a dysfunctional individual in one way or another. So teen dating, coming from that point of view, is a big, huge no-no, and it's definitely not going to work out within their relationships as far as a love relationship, because they had a weak start from the beginning, as far as from their parents and or caretakers or whoever else, in whatever the environment. If it's a weak environment that the individual came from, and that individual failed to do any kind of personal development work to raise themselves up, to strengthen their mind, and to add more value to themselves, other than that, then they're not going to have a successful, strong, and meaningful relationship. So coming out with that alone is a terrible thing for a person in general, until they get themselves together with their personal development work. So as a teenager, all teenagers, their body and their brain is still going into development, so that they can be an adult. So when something is going into development, that something or someone does not need any kind of intense situations going on until they actually learn how to be a strong individual. So the teenage stage, that stage needs to be focused more on growing psychologically, spiritually, and also physically, rather than worrying about having love in a committed relationship. Yes, an individual can have love, as far as a teenager receiving love from friends and family. Yes, but they should not be worried about being in a committed relationship, and they should definitely not be worried about having sex during that time until they actually have the knowledge and the know-how. And let me tell you this, throughout my studying of the body, as far as my body and the body in general, the human body, and also listening to a lecture from Dr. Jewel Pookrum. That's Jewel. Pookrum is Pookrum. She states in her research that the child at the age of 14 is literally an adult. And with me, from my studying, as far as studying the mind and understanding the different stages of the mind that an individual can go in, parents need to have developed their child's mind to an adult by the time the child is 14. But as I say in a lot of my previous videos, here in America, the American society has so many systems in place that delays maturity, that delays maturity in the parents and also in children. So, so the parents have not reached an adequate level of maturity in general. And a lot of people here in America, I realized once I reached an adequate level and higher of maturity and understood maturity, I realized that a lot of people here in America do not understand the definition of maturity. And maybe I'll go ahead and put that up in my video here, and I should go ahead and do it, my definition of maturity. But like I said in my previous videos, a lot of society has made people believe that maturity is having your own house, your own money, your own car, and if you went to college or you graduated from high school, that is just maturity right there, and paying your own bills. And some people think that because they have children that is maturity. No, again, I say those are only aspects of mature adulthood, that an individual has an option to take part in those things. True psychological maturity, based off of my own studying and research and analysis, everything that I study, I always analyze with my own self, for my own self, so that I can come to my own conclusion. Psychological maturity is what equates to a mature adult. It is the body that naturally matures into an adult, depending on the situation. But the more a person matures psychologically, the more their body will mature psychologically. Physically, the more their body will mature physically. That's why you see some of those people nowadays, they're like 25, 30, and 40 years old, but they look like they're like 19, 18, 17, or 16 years of age, and even their voice sounds all squeaky and high voiced and high pitched and high pitched. That, in actuality, if you understand the mind, some of those people have not reached certain psychological aspects of the mind that has matured. So when a person's mind has not matured, sometimes their biology will not mature. If you listen to some of my previous video, what was my previous video? Well, in one of my previous videos, I said the mind, it is the spirituality first, then the mind, then the brain, and then the body. If a person lacks maturity psychologically, sometimes it does result in a childlike body, even if they're like 40 years of age, 30, 20 years of age. And there's some celebrities that I've seen, some music stars and actors that look young, and that's good that they look young, but they still look like they're teenagers. And me studying the behavior of certain individuals and listening to their voice and their energy and their mannerisms, I can tell that they have not grown psychologically yet. And there are various ways that you can change your biology with your mind, because it is the mind that controls the body and the behavior. If you know what you are doing, you can make so many transformations within your own self with the mind. And I deal with that at my NeoOneness Subliminals YouTube channel, and also on my website. You can go ahead and check that out at transformationsubliminals.com. Yes, that is a plug. So a lot of these teenagers, they are dysfunctional psychologically and emotionally in general. So they are the least individuals that should be worried about being in a love committed relationship in general, because they're still learning and they have a lot to learn. Number one, about life, about their spirituality, their purpose for being here on the planet, their understanding their mind, their ego, how the body works, how relationships work, how to behave in a relationship, and also what true manhood and womanhood is. if you think about it, when you were a teenager, as far as the ones who are no longer a teenager, when you think about it, the majority of you did not understand all of those things, and majority of you were not even aware of all of those things. You were too busy running around, kissing, hugging, doing your thing behind closed doors, whatever it was. Same with me. And I didn't learn all of these things until my mid to late 20s. So it's like, if I had to sit down and speak with a teenager, that would be the top things that I would teach them little by little, is teaching them spirituality, various aspects of spirituality, of the mind, the body, and how it functions, how to keep it in good health. And I would teach them relationships. And that is actually, now that I think about it, I might start holding teenage consultations for teenagers, now that I think about it, and I can teach them that, either that or some kind of courses, because I know a lot of these parents nowadays, they have busy lives. They developed busy lives, and I say they developed because they the ones that allowed their lives to be busy, too busy for their teenager. And now the teenager's running all over the place, running amok, probably about to get pregnant if it's a female, or a male about to get a female pregnant. And they neglect the child, and that's what's going on a lot of the times these days, especially even in the 90s, the 80s, and the 70s. That's what's been going on for years. So that's why another reason for teenage pregnancy is the neglect. It's overall the neglect from the parents, the negligence. A lot of people lack the proper knowledge of parenting and relationships. So they don't know how to deal with their child. And nowadays, more than ever, we live in an information age. So there's really no reason besides laziness and neglect for an individual to not have the knowledge, to not be able to get the knowledge, at least a decent level of parental and relationship knowledge in general. Because we have it all on YouTube. We have it on here, my YouTube channel right here. We have it in information in my ebook, my Committed Relationships ebook, which that is on my CommittedRelationships.info website. And you have so many different books available. So you as a parent, whether you're a new parent or you're an older parent, where you're on your second child or whatever, or you're just a parent in general, and you still have access to your children and you're still available to be guidance to them, then you need to get off your behind and start seeking out parental information, learning more about parenting, learning more about relationships, and learning more about overall yourself. Start your personal development process right now. Get yourself together, get your mind right. Stop sitting around watching stupid TV shows, and stop being so obsessed with your job, because that job, I'm telling you, just like I say in my psychological trap, the employment trap, that really distracts people. The job, if the individual lacks maturity and discipline, then they more than likely have been involved with the employment trap that got them distracted and making them neglect so many other aspects of their life, including relationships with their children. So when you leave these individuals alone, as far as the teenagers, they're more than likely going to be promiscuous. And especially here in America, there's so many mechanisms that keeps people's sexual drive high and their mind stuck on sex. And if an individual have not reached a mature level psychologically, then they're more than likely going to get involved with sex irresponsibly. Yes, sex is natural and it is okay to have it. However, it is a necessity to have a psychological maturity level that allows you to deal with sex maturely, in a mature manner, and dealing with other individuals who are of a mature mindset also. And a lot of teenagers do not truly understand that aspect. So that's why I say parents should not encourage teen dating. They should actually be against it, while at the same time teaching their children the appropriate things like maturity, first and foremost, spirituality. And I'm talking about true spirituality, not religion, because religion is a spiritual ceremony and with fragments of spirituality. Spirituality deals with the spirit, the non-physical, and also the psychological, the mental aspect of an individual. Religions, a lot of them despise things that are of the non-physical, and that is a big no-no. That's where people get trapped with this religion, and they don't really understand true spirituality. And that is the reason why a lot of you no longer are interested in religion, because a lot of people nowadays are having spiritual awakening, and they're starting to awaken away from religion. So religion is seriously nowadays more than ever losing its power, and that is a good thing. I am 100% happy about that, because true spirituality comes from within. It doesn't come from outside ourselves, and we don't need a book to guide us if we have reached and we seek inside of ourselves. Yes, I do. And let me phrase that too differently. Books are definitely good to utilize and to give us knowledge and to point us into directions and make us realize things that we have not realized. However, to depend on a book all of your life, to depend on it for life guidance and spiritual guidance all of your life, is the same as equivalent as you riding a bike with training wheels all of your life. Can you just imagine a 30, 40, and 50-year-old adult riding a bike with training wheels right now, rather than driving a car or just riding a bike without training wheels? That's exactly how religion is nowadays. People are psychologically still on training wheels nowadays. Me, I've been off of training wheels to the point where I'm flying now. I'm at very, very high levels of spirituality, as everybody was supposed to be that way anyways. It's been prophesied, but now here in America and worldwide, there has been various mechanisms that have been keeping many people spiritually unconscious. Because if everybody was spiritually awakened now, the ruling elite would completely lose their power, as they are already losing their power now greatly, but they would completely have lost it if everybody was awakened right now. So for me, yes, I'm at a different, more advanced level than a lot of people spiritually and also mentally, but I'm at a point where we all need to be at least minimally. So that's why, and I'm not saying that I'm great and all in yippee-ki-yay and I'm on my high horse, but no, I'm just saying that you are supposed to be here anyways with me, alongside me, where we're together teaching each other. So that's why I don't get angry when somebody has more information than me and they're giving information. I'm actually seeking more information so that I can raise my consciousness to a higher level, higher and higher, even more than this. Consistently evolving. That's what I'm doing. I'm consistently evolving. You should have that goal also as an individual, regardless of what your age is, including if you are a teenager. So that's where I especially want to speak to you teenagers and let you all know your focus needs to be about learning about life, spirituality, the mind, the brain, and overall evolving to a higher consciousness, more than seeking out a committed relationship and love. Reach your inner love. And I'm telling you, I've reached my inner love, and I've reached that higher heart chakra aspect of myself that's within. Once I reached that, I realized that I did not need to seek external love from no one, not even my parents. I've been stopped seeking validation and information from my parents years ago, because I realized they did everything too early as far as relationships, marriage, and having children, having us. So when I spent time with them, analyzing them, I realized they still are at a young psychological consciousness. So I've been surpassed them, especially the last time I spoke with my father. I'm like, whoa, I really surpassed him, to the point where when I spoke with him, there was very little to nothing that he could actually share with me. He was trying to share with me life advice, but I was like, he realized that I was way past him. So he really couldn't, well, maybe he not realized it, but I can tell that he couldn't get anything out. And for me, being on a psychic level, I can feel it in the energy in his brain, his neural pathways. He didn't have the appropriate narrow pathways to give me advice, and I can feel the energy where it was like stuck. It was like a train on going to a certain track, trying to go to a certain track, but it couldn't because the track was blocked off. So, and that's what I'm gonna tell you, teenagers too. Your goal is to surpass your parents minimally psychologically. That's the minimum thing. You don't want to stay below their level, and you don't want to get on their level. You want to go surpass them. Just like a teacher teaches you something, they're supposed to teach you to a point where you can go on your own and go as far as you want. That's the other downside of religion. Religion always want to keep its people capped to a certain degree, to where they can't go off on their own, because there's some people who are life servants of religion and they never go off on a highly evolved level. They just stay on a certain low level. That's why people need to get out of these groups that's not really helping them evolve to a higher level, to where they can literally be on their own. That is what I do on this channel right here, and my NeoOneness Subliminals YouTube channel, providing people information that they can utilize for themselves so that they can raise themselves as high as they want to go. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and close that out. Close this out right now. I spoke enough. Teenage dating, I'm telling you, is a big no-no. Teenagers need to focus more on their overall development, their well-being first and foremost. Save that teen dating for later in life, where you have save your dating later, where you have more information about life, adequate information about life. You reach an adequate level of psychological maturity, and where you can better choose the proper individual to be in a relationship with. Because a lot of teenagers, because they haven't reached an adequate level of maturity and psychological strength, once they go through those dysfunctional situations within their relationship, they go through a breakup or something tragic happens, all is lost for them psychologically, and they lose themselves. Some people commit suicide. Some people might go kill another person or anything like that. They just can't handle the stresses of a committed relationship. The stresses of committed relationship is an addition that teenagers do not need to have within their life right now. They already have stresses from school if they're already in school. They have stresses of growing pains, psychological growing pains, and also physical growing pains. And if they're coming from a dysfunctional home, they have the pressures of that. So me sitting around analyzing this, I'm like, having a committed relationship throughout the teenage years is really unnecessary. So you're going to have to figure out somehow, some way to be able to avoid the pressures of teen dating as a teenager, and also as a parent teaching your children about that. And I might figure out a way to start helping teenagers out with that situation too, like giving them advice and stuff like that, a course or something, or at least committed consultation. So I'm gonna definitely figure out what I can do regarding that. Okay, thank you very much for listening. If you have enjoyed this information and it has helped you in one way or another, definitely please click the like button of this video. Subscribe if you would like more information like this, that is uplifting information that you can definitely utilize within your own life. Click the subscribe button, and if you would like email updates of my new videos once I upload them, click the bell button. If you have relationship information that you would like to speak to me about, you email me at CommittedRelationships@gmail.com. If it's personal development information, including the mind, that is NeoOneness Subliminals@gmail.com. Check out both of my websites at CommittedRelationships.info and also transformationsubliminals.com. Definitely share this video with whomever you can. Share this link on your social media pages also. Thank you, and until next time.